Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you've never been here before, my name is Ash. Welcome, and I hope you consider subscribing before you leave the video. Today we are on to episode 11 of season 1 in our retro review. So let's get on with the episode. Marina and Francesca this week continued their kind of sniping and bickering. A lot of that seems to be finance driven. Marina seems to be in quite a lot of debt, and Francesca's going on at her about things like the planet and how the staff are and how she wants to be making a bigger income and be in profit. So there's a lot going on there. Obviously the relationship does not seem like it's going well for either of them, and Marina's moment of the episode was definitely when she opens this expensive bottle of wine for the two of them, and Francesca makes kind of like a petty comment, and Marina just dumps both of the wine glasses into her suitcase that she's packing. I don't know why, but I always find that so funny. It's just the way Gina Lombard just like delivers it with complete stone face and just walks off. It's brilliant. Shane, everything's still moving along with Cheri Jaffey. They have this kind of hookup relationship now, and Cheri Jaffey's husband Steve is kind of trying to help Shane out with getting her own salon, and at one stage Cheri takes Shane to see this salon that they want to make for her, and Steve asks Shane to kind of spend time with his daughter. Cheri's organizing this trip to Paris, and Steve kind of asks Shane to get the daughter on board for the trip to Paris, which, do people really need to get on board for trips to Paris? Like, surely you would want to go, but maybe it's going with her mum. She doesn't want to go with her mum. Clea and Shane, when they're spending time together, Clea says that she is gay, and that's why the dad seems to have known that and wants them to spend time together. And Clea kind of hits on Shane, and Shane's like, no, I can't do this, obviously because of the whole thing with Cheri. And yeah, it's about to get really messy with that whole thing, but I always find it a little bit frustrating because this is consistent throughout the whole L Word, and this problem has gone on to Generation Q too. They do these kind of like little teasers of everyone's backstory. Like with Shane, they talk about how Shane didn't grow up with her parents, and over the next 6 seasons we do get these little nuggets of information, but there's never anyone's backstory like super explored. Some characters like Tina, we basically know nothing about her backstory apart from that horrendous confession tape that was not really officially part of the show because they cut it out. It is on YouTube. If I can find it, I'll link it in the description below, but maybe you don't want to watch it actually if you haven't seen it, because it's ugh. And then people like Bette and Kit, yeah, we meet their dad and Kit's homophobic son, but we just get these minor little details about the character's past. And I think it would have been really interesting to have like an episode of flashbacks, and I still think that would be interesting for Generation Q, and not even their backstories, just to know what's gone on in the past 10 years. Actually, next episode, episode 12, is where they all talk about like their first relationship, like coming out sort of thing, and I found that episode great and amazing. I'm really looking forward to reviewing it next week, but they just never dive into anyone's background that much. It's just these little tiny throwaway lines that we really don't know that much outside of what happens in this few years that the show's on. Alice, again, this episode really doesn't have anything to do. I have never really noticed this before. Alice was always a favorite character of mine, but ever since Generation Q, I just absolutely love her. Like, Bette has always been my favorite. I like Tina too, and since Generation Q, Alice is definitely one of my favorites. And now watching the season back the first time after seeing Generation Q, I realized how little Alice had to do in the first season. She's part of a lot of the group scenes, and I guess that kind of goes for Shane and Dana too. they're shown a lot of the time, the three of them together, and then Bette and Tina are kind of separate, and then the whole Jenny and Marina thing is separate. Yes, they do all have group scenes together, but again, Alice has this kind of am I pregnant storyline, which I also had a hard time with, because surely if you think you're pregnant, go take a pregnancy test. But that's easy for me to sit here and say because I have never even had to have the thought, am I pregnant? So maybe that's not the way it goes. But yeah, surely she'd just take a pregnancy test. Anyway, Jenny and Dana in this episode go to this lesbian bar that looks like it hasn't changed since the 1950s. And let me tell you, just before this pandemic hit, I went to that exact same bar. I mean, obviously not the exact same one, but where I live is a very, very tiny gay community. I'm used to living in Tampa, where, you know, G Bar and Honey Pot and all these places. We had a Hamburger Mary's, and we had amazing choice cityside for going out, and I was very spoiled that way. And moving here, which I had to for my career, there is no gay bars, there's no gay nights, there's nothing. And this year they were supposed to have the first ever Pride, and of course it's been cancelled because of the pandemic, but they did have the first ever gay night here just before all this happened. It's probably about 8 weeks ago now, and I went with one of the only lesbians that I know, and it was hilarious. Like, it just was exactly like that scene, you know, very the stereotype that people think of. And you know, the people behind the bar had like a rainbow thing on, and like the really typical rainbow decorations and stuff. It was only a night in a very, very straight, like, basically the place that it was is kind of like a working man's pub. But I mean, it was amazing to see and to go to that thing, because having lived here when I was a teenager, my teenage self, I thought I would never be able to come out, and as an adult going to a gay night here, thinking of that made me really happy. So, and it was pretty hilarious too. But Jenny and Dana do have that super awkward hookup. It's super awkward, and I guess that's why most people go along the lines of, when you're gay, you have your friends who are gay, but you just don't go there. And I mean, some people do, but it gets super messy again. As always, save my favourites for last, Bette and Tina. Tough episode in the beginning. Tina is obviously both of them are having a really hard time dealing with it. They go to the Dan Foxworthy group, and one of the group members, Oscar, kind of is helping Tina and tells her she can come and volunteer at his office. It seems like they do a bunch of stuff there. It's not just, you know, helping kids, and he mentions an LGBT part and law groups and getting people healthcare and stuff, so it sounds awesome. And Tina goes there and helps, and most of the storyline for Bette and Tina throughout the episode is Bette's impending debate with Faye Buckley, and throughout the episode it's actually Oscar and not Bette's big fancy PR team that find out that Faye Buckley's daughter was abused by Faye Buckley's husband, and she did nothing about it. And they mentioned her paying off people to get records expunged, and the daughter, Cora, I think her name is, ran away and started doing porn when she was like really, I think she ran away at 14. They said the video they were showing she was 17. So Bette kind of has that as ammo, and it doesn't appear clear before they have the debate whether Bette's going to use that, but she does bring it's a VHS, of course, to the debate. And when she brings that out, you can see Faye Buckley is like starting to panic, and that's when Faye Buckley just absolutely goes for the jugular and says the most horrific thing to Bette about them losing the baby, which Jennifer Beals think I say this nearly in every single one of my reviews, is just amazing in that scene. She's so fantastic. The one thing that was weird is I'm rewatching the show via Hulu because it's not on Netflix anymore, and they've changed the music. It used to be the song Hallelujah was playing when Bette's like crying and calls her a monster, but it's another song now. And I remember that used to happen a lot with Roswell and Buffy, because all of these shows were on before streaming existed. So now they have to change the music and stuff, and I think that happens a lot throughout the OG season, that a lot of the music that originally, or if you get the DVDs, that is one reason to get the DVDs, that it's the original music on the DVDs but not on the streaming services. Just talking about Bette's debate, those two lines that really stand out to me now watching it that maybe wouldn't have when I was 1920, and also in 2004, and how we were as a society then. When Bette initially goes on, I think it's the lawyer, one of the advisors that she has, says to Tina, like, she needs to loosen up and smile, and that is the mantra for criticizing women, that, oh, you should smile more. Would someone ever say that to a man? No. It drives me insane when people say that. The other line is where Bette and Tina are having the conversation before they go in, and they have that cute scene where they kiss, and Bette says, oh, let's do this in front of Faye Buckley. But Tina says to Bette, kind of pretending to be Faye Buckley, why are you such an angry lesbian? That is a line that sometimes I'm afraid of people thinking about me. Like, if I criticized a man, I feel like sometimes people are thinking, oh, she thinks that because she's an angry lesbian. I know that people won't be thinking that. Maybe I shouldn't speak for other people, but I myself sometimes feel as though I'm constantly trying to defend myself, or constantly editing myself in certain environments, only certain environments, to not come across as an angry lesbian. Or anytime I talk about equality and things like that, I work in a very male-dominated field, and sometimes if I ever want to bring up things about equality and stuff, I work for an amazing company, but in general, what I work for is very male-dominated, and I constantly am thinking, I don't want people to think that I'm an angry lesbian. And I'm sure there are other people out there who have that problem themselves. I actually nearly got through that episode without mentioning the carpenter, and just as I was thinking of doing the end, I thought, oh, I haven't mentioned the carpenter. I'm trying to block it from my mind. Bette, when she goes to Kit's performance and we see Slim Daddy, I think that's one of the last times we see him, if not the last time, and he's talking about Candace and Bette, you know, something happening between them. And the carpenter sometimes to me reminds me of someone else, and it just in general, like, she just evokes this rage I get when I see her, and so just gotta control that rage, and we gotta get through the next few episodes for sure. Overall, this episode, I do enjoy it. I like the Bette going in and being this powerful presence and taking Faye Buckley down and standing up for the whole art, believing in what she's doing. And after this episode, we are kind of full steam ahead for the end of season 1. Next episode, as I said, episode 12, is where they all talk about their first girlfriends and coming out. So I too will be talking a bit about that. If anyone has any questions, comments, please let me know down in the comment section down below. If you aren't subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing by clicking that button down below, and also be sure to hit the bell notification so you're notified every time I post a new video. Please also consider liking the video if you enjoyed it. If you aren't already following me on social media, I post a lot of L-word content in between my videos, so please follow me over there. My Instagram and Facebook are the.ash.silver, and my Twitter is the_ashsilver1. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves and have a good day. Bye!